हेलो अंडरग्रेजुएट मैथ स्टूडेंट्स। आज के इस एक्सप्लेनर में आप सभी का स्वागत है। आज हम आपके प्रोवाइडेड नोट्स का एक बिल्कुल फोकस्ड स्टेप बाय स्टेप मास्टर क्लास वॉक थ्रू करने वाले हैं। हम इस थ्योरम को स्ट्रिक्टली और लॉजिकली एकदम आपके एग्जैक्ट नोट्स के हिसाब से ही ब्रेक डाउन करेंगे। सो लेट्स डाइव राइट इन।
तो चलिए सीधा पहले पेज से शुरू करते हैं। ये आज के लिए हमारा एब्सोल्यूट फाउंडेशन है एंड वी आर गोना फॉलो एग्जैक्टली व्हाट इज रिटन हियर वर्ड फॉर वर्ड।
फटाफट एजेंडा पर नजर डालते हैं। हमारा स्ट्रक्चर कुछ इस तरह होगा। फर्स्ट, थ्योरम एंड की नोटेशंस। सेकंड, पार्ट ए इंटीग्रेबिलिटी प्रूफ। थर्ड, पार्ट बी इनइक्वालिटी प्रूफ। फोर्थ, इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट्स एंड फॉर्मूलाज। फिफ्थ, द कॉन्वर्स एंड अ काउंटर एग्जाम्पल। और आखिर में सिक्स्थ, हमारा फाइनल समरी।
Section 1. Theorem and Key Notations. Foundational Concepts.
ओके, तो थ्योरम स्ट्रिक्टली इस तरह डिफाइन की गई है। If f is Riemann-Stieltjes integrable on the closed interval a to b, then its absolute value, absolute f, is also Riemann-Stieltjes integrable on a to b. Furthermore, the absolute value of the integral from a to b of f d alpha is less than or equal to the integral from a to b of the absolute value of f d alpha. अब इसका मीनिंग इन सिंपल वर्ड्स देखते हैं। फर्स्ट पॉइंट, अगर f Riemann-Stieltjes integrable है on a, b, then its absolute value f is also Riemann-Stieltjes integrable. Second point, the absolute value of the integral of f is not greater than the integral of the absolute value of f. Absolutely crucial to keep in mind. In mathematical terms, exact or accurately समझना बहुत ज़रूरी है. So here are the key notations. पहला notation, partition P equals the set A equals x naught less than x1 all the way to less than xn equals b. Next up, delta alpha I equals alpha of xi minus alpha of xi minus 1, which is greater than or equal to 0 since alpha is increasing. अब देखते हैं capital Mi equals the supremum of f, or lowercase mi equals the infimum of f on the subinterval xi minus 1 to xi. अगला notation है capital Mi prime equals the supremum of absolute f, or lowercase mi prime equals the infimum of absolute f on that same subinterval. उसके बाद आता है upper sum u of p f of alpha equals the sum from I equals 1 to n of capital Mi times delta alpha I, or lower sum L of p f of alpha equals the sum from I equals 1 to n of lowercase mi times delta alpha I, or finally the exact condition for integrability. F belongs to R of alpha if and only if, for all epsilon greater than 0, there exists a partition P such that U of P f of alpha minus L of P f of alpha is less than epsilon.
अब देखते हैं हमारा overarching strategy. The idea of the proof in 4 specific steps पर based है. Idea 1, compare the oscillation of absolute f with the oscillation of f on each subinterval. Idea 2, prove upper sum of absolute f minus lower sum of absolute f is less than or equal to upper sum of f minus lower sum of f. Idea 3, since f is integrable, the right side can be made less than epsilon, hence absolute f is integrable. और आखिर में idea 4, use minus absolute f less than or equal to f less than or equal to absolute f and integrate to obtain our final inequality.
Section 2, Part A, Integrability Proof. Proving absolute f is integrable.
इसे हम completely step by step breakdown करेंगे, strictly notes के according. Step 1. Given f is an R of alpha on a, b, by definition of integrability, for every epsilon greater than 0, there exists a partition P of a, b such that U of P f, alpha minus L of P f, alpha is less than epsilon. इसे हम equation 1 कहते हैं। अब चलते हैं step 2 पर। Take any subinterval xi minus 1 to xi of P. Let capital Mi equal the supremum of f, lowercase mi equal the infimum of f, capital Mi prime equal the supremum of absolute f, or lowercase mi prime equal the infimum of absolute f on that subinterval. Step 3 में देखिए, for any t1, t2 in the subinterval, the absolute value of absolute f of t1 minus absolute f of t2 is less than or equal to the absolute value of f of t1 minus f of t2. ये हमारी famous reverse triangle inequality है. This means the oscillation of absolute f is not larger than the oscillation of f, giving us capital Mi prime minus lowercase mi prime is less than or equal to capital Mi minus lowercase mi. ये है हमारी equation 2. अब step 4 में we multiply both sides of equation 2 by delta alpha I greater than or equal to 0 or sum over I equals 1 to n. This yields the sum of mi prime minus mi prime times delta alpha I is less than or equal to the sum of mi minus mi times delta alpha I. This directly implies U of P absolute f, alpha minus L of P absolute f, alpha is less than or equal to U of P
f कॉमा अल्फा माइनस l of p f कॉमा अल्फा। ये बनती है हमारी इक्वेशन 3।
अब हम आगे बढ़ते हुए नोट्स के सेकंड पेज पर आते हैं। यहाँ हम इस प्रूफ के पहले हिस्से को प्रॉपरली रैप अप करेंगे।
और ये एग्जैक्टली स्टेप 5 के कंक्लूजन को दिखाता है। फ्रॉम इक्वेशन 1 एंड 3 हमें मिलता है u of p एब्सोल्यूट f अल्फा माइनस l of p एब्सोल्यूट f इज लेस देन और इक्वल टू u of p f अल्फा माइनस l of p f अल्फा विच इज लेस देन एप्सिलॉन। क्योंकि एप्सिलॉन ग्रेटर देन 0 आर्बिट्रेरी है, दिस फाइनली प्रूव्स एब्सोल्यूट f इज एन r of alpha on a, b.
Section 3, Part B, Inequality Proof, Integral Bound Proof.
चलिए इन पांचों स्टेप्स को वर्बेटम वॉक थ्रू करते हैं बिना किसी डिविएशन के। स्टेप 1, फॉर एवरी x in AB the basic inequality holds minus absolute f of x is less than or equal to f of x which is less than or equal to absolute f of x. स्टेप 2 देखते हैं। From part A we know both absolute f and minus absolute f are an r of alpha. For integrable functions, if g of x is less than or equal to h of x on AB, then the integral from a to b of gd alpha is less than or equal to the integral from a to b of hd alpha, right? Of step 3 में we literally integrate. Apply this to minus absolute f less than or equal to f less than or equal to absolute f and integrate over a, b. This gives the integral of minus absolute f d alpha is less than or equal to the integral of f d alpha, which is less than or equal to the integral of absolute f d alpha. Moving on to step 4, using the constant multiple property of the integral, we pull out the negative sign. So, minus the integral of absolute f d alpha is less than or equal to the integral of f d alpha, which is less than or equal to the integral of absolute f d alpha. और finally, step 5 में आते हैं। If a number I satisfies minus a is less than or equal to I is less than or equal to a, then the absolute value of I is less than or equal to a. Hence, the absolute value of the integral from a to b of f d alpha is less than or equal to the integral from a to b of absolute f d alpha. Perfect.
Section 4, Important Points and Formulas, Crucial Takeaways.
ये आपके एग्जाम्स और अंडरस्टैंडिंग के लिए एब्सोल्युटली क्रूशियल टेकअवेज हैं। Remember these important points. Point 1, if f is in R of alpha, then absolute f is in R of alpha. Point 2, the key inequality used is the absolute value of absolute f of t1 minus absolute f of t2 is less than or equal to the absolute value of f of t1 minus f of t2. Point 3, therefore on any subinterval, mi prime minus mi prime is less than or equal to mi minus mi. Point 4, hence u of p absolute f alpha minus L of p absolute f alpha is less than or equal to u of p f alpha minus L of p f alpha. Point 5. From minus absolute f less than or equal to f less than or equal to absolute f, we get the absolute value of the integral of f d alpha is less than or equal to the integral of absolute f d alpha. Point 6. The converse is false. पेज 3 पर हम इसका स्पेसिफिक काउंटर एग्जाम्पल देखेंगे।
अब इन की फॉर्मूलाज का एक एग्जैक्ट रिकैप करते हैं। फॉर्मूला 1, u of p f alpha equals the sum of mi times delta alpha I और L of p f alpha equals the sum of mi times delta alpha I. फॉर्मूला 2, u of p c f alpha equals c times u of p f alpha और L of p c f alpha equals c times L of p f alpha for c greater than 0. Formula 3, u of p cf alpha equals minus c times L of p f alpha or L of p cf alpha equals minus c times u of p f alpha for c less than 0. Formula 4, minus absolute f less than or equal to f less than or equal to absolute f implies minus the integral of absolute f d alpha is less than or equal to the integral of f d alpha is less than or equal to the integral of absolute f d alpha. और आखिरी formula, the absolute value of the integral of f d alpha is less than or equal to the integral of absolute f d alpha.
Section 5, The Converse and Counterexample. Examining the converse.
आगे बढ़ते हुए हम एग्जैक्टली तीसरे और आखिरी पेज पर चलते हैं जहां एक ब्रिलियंट काउंटर एग्जाम्पल प्रेजेंट किया गया है। तो अब एक इंटरेस्टिंग ट्विस्ट आता है। द एग्जैक्ट क्वेश्चन इज द कॉन्वर्स ट्रू? डज एब्सोल्यूट phi in R of alpha imply f is in R of alpha? And the precise answer is no. The converse is not true. आइए क्लियरली देखते हैं क्यों।
हम अपना काउंटर एग्जाम्पल एग्जैक्टली इस पीसवाइज फंक्शन से डिफाइन करते हैं। डिफाइन f of x equals 1 when x is rational और -1 when x is irrational.
अब नोटिस कीजिए कि एब्सोल्यूट वैल्यू लेने पर क्या होता है. Then, the absolute value of f of x equals 1 for all x in a, b, which is of course a constant function. Hence, absolute f is indeed in R of alpha. But f is not integrable. अब हम exact mathematical steps track करेंगे ये prove करने के लिए. Step 1. Take any partition P of a, b. Every subinterval contains both rational and irrational numbers. Hence, on each subinterval, mi equals the infimum of f equals -1 or mi equals the supremum of f equals 1. Step 2. पहले lower sum compute करते हैं. L of p f alpha equals the sum of mi delta alpha I, which equals the sum of -1 times delta alpha I. This simplifies to minus the sum of delta alpha I, resulting in minus open parenthesis alpha of b minus alpha of a close parenthesis. Step 3. अब upper sum देखते हैं. U of p f alpha equals the sum of mi delta alpha I, which equals the sum of 1 times delta alpha I. This beautifully simplifies to simply alpha of b minus alpha of a. Step 4. यहाँ हम difference निकालते हैं. U of p f alpha minus L of p f alpha equals 2 times bracket alpha of b minus alpha of a. And this is not equal to 0 since b is greater than a. Upper or lower integrals different हैं, meaning the upper integral is not equal to the lower integral. Hence, f does not belong to R of alpha, although absolute f does belong to R of alpha.
Section 6. Final summary. Wrapping up.
तो finally, ये है हमारी इस masterclass का ultimate takeaway, exactly as summarized in the notes. Check mark. If f is in R of alpha on a, b, then absolute f is in R of alpha and the absolute value of the integral of f d alpha is less than or equal to the integral of absolute f d alpha. And the red cross, the converse, is not true. Absolute f in R of alpha does not imply f is in R of alpha. ये mathematical subtleties वाकई fascinating है. Just think about it. Why is it that in real analysis, absolute predictability on one side can completely break down on the other? Counter examples like these ही mathematics को इतना rigorous और beautiful बनाते हैं. Keep thinking about that और मिलते हैं अगले explainer में. Keep studying hard.